Welcome back to Success with Steven. My name is Steven Smith. On this channel, we discuss all things financial literacy. And today we're going to discuss how I built 7 streams of income within the last 9 months and what they never tell you about creating multiple streams of income. Now, last year, I made a video about 9 passive income ideas, and this will really be an extension of that. Since then, a lot has happened, and I've created multiple streams of new income since that video came out. And by the end of this video, I want you to understand not only the ways that I make money, but what you need to have multiple streams of income and how you can create them very quickly. This isn't a instant gratification, get rich quick, do something fly by night. So if that's what you're looking for, then this isn't it. But I think it will be very informative to the people that actually want to receive good information. Most people are very laser focused on just one thing, getting a job and making money from a single source of income. Now, this is such a commonplace thing that most of us don't even question it. In school, no one teaches you how to build financial security. They just teach you how to get a full-time job, work that job, make a living, and then do this for 35 years in a routine so you can retire. But when I got fired from my first job, that took my only source of income away from me. And then I instantly realized something. I'm financially exposed. And this doesn't just apply to if you have a minimum wage job. Most high income professionals are stuck in the same rat race, not because they're lazy or irresponsible, but because no one ever taught them to create various streams of income. So if you're relying on just one paycheck, you're at risk. Even if that paycheck is 6-7 figures, you're still very at risk. So for me, I started digging into how wealthy individuals actually build wealth. And I discovered like one simple truth that was the same amongst all these people. They don't rely on one stream of income. In fact, most of them had 7 or more. So before we go any further, I want to share a quote with you. And it's: "The mediocre teacher tells, the good teacher explains, the superior teacher demonstrates, and the great teacher inspires." I believe wholeheartedly, if you want to be a great teacher, you need to not only explain how things work, you need to demonstrate, and then ultimately you want to inspire the people that you're giving this information to. So if I simply just told you what the 7 income streams are, which if you've seen the past video, then you might have known a lot of them, without teaching you anything, then to me, the information is useless. So let's start with the 3 types of income known as active or earned income, passive income, and portfolio income. This is income that you earn by working, like your job, like even a business. That's still active or earned income. When you have active earned income, you're taxed at the highest possible bracket when you're an employee of a job. When you have earned income as a business, you're taxed at a much lower bracket. So just by simply becoming a business owner and not actually being an employee of someone else's company, you already save just in taxes alone. So just know, active earned income isn't the same from an employee of a company and then a business owner. It can be very different. Now, unfortunately, most people go through their entire lives and careers with only one source of income, this earned income, and not the one from a business, the one that's taxed at the highest possible tax bracket. And this is the most common way that we're taught to make a living. I have another video about $1 million skill, and the skill really boils down to, once you know exactly how money is earned, you understand that your biggest bill is taxes. That is the biggest bill that everyone has to deal with. And the quickest way to get from underneath that bill is to earn different types of income. Number 2 is passive income. This type of income is what I'm mainly focused on growing. The best part about this is it's not directly tied to active or work performed income, but you need to realize that it has to come from somewhere, and that somewhere is typically active income from the work that you do. In other words, what I'm saying is you get paid from your job, like everyone has to start somewhere, and you get an annual salary. Instead of you spending your annual salary on things that you don't need, like most people do, or they make more money and end up spending more to compensate, you end up kind of in a financial bind, because if you spend what you make, you have nothing left over. What you need to do is focus on investing in assets that will provide extra cash to pay for your liabilities down the road. So for example, if you invested into something like an RV park or like mobile homes, right, where people can live at, yes, that's going to cost you money up front. But down the line, like several years later, if you've had a whole RV community now where you're making money from each of the individuals that live there, that becomes passive income for you. You have to work up front to acquire all of those things. And later down the line, because of all the work that you did, you're getting paid every single month without having to really do anything at all. And that's kind of the point of passive income. Number 3, portfolio income. That's the income that you get from profits from things like stocks, exchange traded funds, ETFs, or real estate investment trust, REITs. I've talked about this in a few videos. And again, these are some of probably my least watched videos, but they're the ones that would make you the most money, oddly enough, the least watched ones. I have a video on ETFs and the best ETFs that I think that you can buy and hold forever. I also have videos about stock investing, which is probably the greatest thing that you could ever do with your money. And again, I have videos on real estate and all types of other topics. There are things that are there. Again, it's not for everyone. I highly recommend you watching them, but these are the things that will give you portfolio income, which is very, very big down the line. Look, after I lost my first job, I began to study how millionaires make their money, which led me to read a ton of finance books. Most of the information is the same, unless like it's based in some sort of law. But the number one thing that always stood out to me was the fact that millionaires did not make money from working a job. Not one of them did. They did not. They all had multiple streams of income. If you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. And that was something that was said by Warren Buffett. So great. Now I understood the idea of having new streams of income. It sounds amazing, right? But so many people go through life and struggle to try and figure out how to create a single stream of income. Like, think about that. We spend our whole lives educating ourselves, getting ready to go to school, doing all these things just to make one stream of income. So how in the world was I going to just start making multiple streams out of nowhere? Like, if just making one was hard enough, let alone more, right? Which is what I'm sure a lot of you are thinking right now, which makes perfect sense. Starting out, I felt the same way until I started studying what the most successful people were doing. That's another thing that they don't tell you. If you want to be successful, it's not very hard to figure out how to do it. That's not the hard part. You want to be successful? I could literally make a list of the most successful people right now and then make a second list of what do they have in common. Eventually, you'll start to see that all the wealthiest people do the same thing. There's various different ways that you can do it, but they all do the same exact thing. It's no surprise to you. The hard part for you is figuring out how you could do those exact same things, or where do you fit into the equation, or what type of skills or anything that you can offer in order to be able to do what they're doing. Well, the first thing that you could do, which I learned, it seemed that many people were learning from the same resources. They were learning from books. They were learning from courses. They were learning from YouTube like you are right now, right? Everybody was learning just like that. The information's there. No one's hiding it. I'm not hiding it. I'm telling you exactly what I do. Whether or not you do it or you don't do it is completely up to you. But the information is out there and people like me give it out freely. And of course, a lot of other people, even if you pay for it, the information to me is well worth whatever you need to pay. 2 of my favorite finance books out right now, and if you haven't read them, then you should read them. And this is like just to start, I would say pick these books up. Rich Dad, Poor Dad, of course, and Think and Grow Rich. Those are, I would say, my favorite books to start. Now, one thing I want to make very clear about multiple streams of income, which I think a lot of people, when they make YouTube videos, I feel like they forget that they're talking to regular everyday people and they're talking to people who are literally starting from square one. And sometimes when you're, let's say, on level 20, it's hard to think with a level 1 mindset because you've been up for too long. It's like you're not in touch with what people are actually going through day to day. And that was the thing about the books that I read. The books gave good information, but no one actually said this. They didn't make this clear to me. Even though you need multiple streams of income in order to really build up your financial well-being, you need to start with one income stream, and you need to expand it. I know that sounds so simple And someone's going to be thinking about this thinking like, oh, well, of course, you'd have to start with your job. I'm not talking about that. What I'm saying is your job is the seed money. Like your job should pay for your cost of living. It's up to you to look at your cost of living and to shrink it enough that you have something left over. Whatever you have left over should be used for the first thing that you're going to do. That's going to be your first stream of income. And then you should master that thing. You start with one thing. You learn as much as you possibly can about that one thing to make money with minimal effort. And then you move on. Most successful people that I noticed, they have one major income stream, just one that allowed them to expand. And then they spent, maybe even years cultivating this one income stream. Then they expanded and they were able to all of a sudden get multiple way faster. For mine, it was e-commerce. But prior to that, I tried several different things, some of them at the same time. Some of them I did independently of each other, which ended up being a huge mistake when I was trying to juggle multiple ideas at the same time. Of course, you can't concentrate. You're spreading yourself too thin. Pick one thing that you want to try and then get good at that one thing. And as a rule of thumb, and this might seem, again, everything always seems crazy and impossible until you do it. My rule of thumb is to focus on one major thing for at least 1 year, or until you make $100,000 by doing that thing. Now, that's not a hard number. Maybe yours is $50,000. What I'm saying is when I knew that e-commerce was really, really good for me was when I started making more money doing e-commerce than I did at my job. I stopped even looking at my paychecks. I looked at my paychecks like, oh yeah, I forgot it's Friday. We get paid? Oh, okay, cool. I was just looking at how much I was making from e-commerce. I barely looked at my check. And that's when I knew, oh wow, this is actually working. Again, my thing was e-commerce. Yours could be something completely different. That's up to you to decide what it's going to be. You get to pick. It's your choice. But whatever it is, focus on that one thing for at least a year. You have to get good. I'm not talking about leveraging credit. I'm talking about you doing something from the zero, getting it to where it can make $100,000 by itself. That's it. Do that first. And then that's going to open up all the other doors. And then I'm going to talk about that next and how me starting with something as small as e-commerce turned into me making now close to $250,000 probably this year. And last year, I didn't have any of that. The year before that, I was broke. So this is 2023 to 2025. It can change really fast if you work hard enough. I just want to be clear. I am not talking about your job salary. This is not including your job salary. All right. Start something new, make $100,000 from that one thing, or at least give it a year of your full undivided attention and really try to get good at it. All right. So we're going to discuss my 7 streams of income, but I wanted to also give more clarification to earned income. There's nothing wrong with your primary source of income being your job. In fact, that's how most self-made millionaires have started. They started by leveraging the money they made from their job. But what I'm trying to say is that you should consider earned income as your way to build up other sources of income based on other options. And hopefully some of the options that I discussed today you might consider. Because again, I can only tell you what I know. I can't tell you anything that I don't know. So the information that I'm giving you is based off of my life. I'm giving you 7 new streams of income, but I actually have 9 streams of income in total, or that I would consider 9 streams of income. Now, the first one is, I'll start with number 9, which is an old one. It's my oldest one. And I make the least amount of money from this one, but it's like my baby. I spent so many years working on music. So number 9 is royalties and licensing income. Most of you may have known that I was a musician before I made this YouTube channel. I did music for so many years that's at least like 11 to 12 years of my life I gave to that because I was passionate about it. And the most money I think I've made from music is probably $6,000 in a year. So maybe like $400 to $500 a month, $600 a month, I think. And it's pretty consistent. And when I first got it, it was amazing to me because that could pay for a car note. That could pay for like a really expensive phone bill. That could pay something like a utility. So it could do a lot. And I was very proud of that. This type of income comes from your intellectual property, things you created that other people want to use, whether or not it's streaming services or your music is put into a TV show, a movie, anything like that. You're able to use that to make money. And this could be photography. It could also be inventions. So just know that when you license something, it's not just limited to just music. It could also be a course. It could be an idea. It could be your own writing. If you like to write, if you want to, have books. Affiliate marketing platforms also will license stuff. When you think about this, just know that it's not just limited to what I'm saying. You can take whatever I'm saying and expand upon it. So I'm just giving you a very specific idea based off of my life. But remember, this can be very broad too. So remember, as I'm going through this, I want you to think about things that could possibly work for you. Maybe one thing, again, that you want to start first and you can work on for, let's say, a year and get good at it. Now, the next stream is number 8. It was e-commerce. Now, besides e-commerce, I've tried several side hustles. I've talked about them on this channel as far as Fiverr, ghostwriting music, like random things that I was doing. Like I've done so many different things and I've tried so many different things, but I felt like e-commerce was the first thing where I made more money than my job was paying me. And I made enough money where when I wasn't working at my job, I was still able to pay all my bills. So that's why it was one of the most important things to me. But you guys know I've talked about Amazon FBA. I just released a video on that, how to add an extra 30,000 some odd dollars to your income. Very, very easy. Not Amazon itself is easy. Again, I spent a couple years doing that. And in that video, I tell you, I wanted to make 120,000, something like that. I had so many hiccups and setbacks. They held my funds. It wasn't easy even now, right? But it just becomes something that I've learned so well. I can kind of like maneuver through it and make it seem easy, but I'm just so used to it now that I could spend very minimal time on that. And I know I could do easily like what I just did, 30,000 extra dollars that I can just put into my pocket or spread it over 12 months and say, yo, this is to pay your bills and try to live within this budget. So everything else I make becomes extra money that I can then invest and do other stuff with. Now let's get to number 7, and it is dividend income. And these aren't really in any particular order, but I will say that this is probably my second lowest passive income stream. When you invest in dividend paying stocks or funds, you get a cut from the company's profit. This would also be considered portfolio income. It grows over time. Now, whether you're investing in the stock market, you're investing in REITs or stock dividends, you're getting paid simply for owning the asset. This is also why many people will purchase ETFs, exchange traded funds, and dividend retirement to boost their wealth slowly but consistently. And I've made a video on compounding interest and the best ETFs to buy and hold forever. And the great thing about this is anyone can do it. Number 6 is affiliate links or affiliate marketing. And this would be considered, let's say, business income, which is, it's like weird. It's like semi-passive, but it is at the same time earned income. So this is like, it's like revenue sharing, where third-party companies will take people like YouTubers and influencers and stuff like that, and then they will give you a link where when people click on it, you get a commission on the sale that's generated through that link. Recently, it started to be actually where it's actually getting very high now. Before it was really low, where I didn't even think about it. But now it's definitely higher than dividend income for sure. And it is something that's reoccurring almost every single month. And this is something that's very new to me. This wasn't around 9 months ago. And you have to understand that this particular stream of income is a side effect of YouTube, or if you do social media, anything. Everyone eventually kind of gets to it. It really is like a side effect of it. So it's like if you were to start making content on any platform, more than likely affiliate marketing will become another stream of income for you. And this is why I said if you start with something, master that one thing, and then it leads to other things. And I'll kind of bring it all together at the end. Number 5 is ebooks. And I will put this under business earned income because it is something where, hey, you do have to do some work one time And after you do the work one time, you don't have to make it again. It just will keep selling on its own. What I do like about this though, which is different from earned income, there's no cap. When you work a job, you might as well just add your paychecks up for the next however many years, given inflation and giving whatever you think you might get for a pay increase or a bonus, and then multiply that by however many years you think that you might live. You know exactly how much money you'll make in your entire lifetime. The great thing about something like ebooks is that it's not capped. When it comes to digital products, I mean, I could get 100,000 sales and I could get it while I'm sleeping. It can really happen just like that. It's up to you to create the traffic, but it does have great earning potential long term. Number 4 is online coaching. And I've actually pulled back from this in the last few months, which once again, this is a byproduct of one other thing that I did, which happened in the last 9 months. I wasn't doing that before, but I have pulled back simply because coaching is way too close to active earned income, where you have to, you have to work for it. Like, you have to actively be doing it in order to get paid to do it. And I like things where I can get paid without having to actively do them. Not only that, but now one of the other effects of when you start doing, a lot of this work, business, things like that, you don't have a lot of time. And I just don't have as much time to do it as much as I would like to. So it's kind of taken like a back seat to other things, but it is great additional income and it's a valuable skill to have. So if you know something, you have information, you're really good in a particular field, I would take advantage of your knowledge and monetize it. It's a great way to take what you already know and turn it into a business, which wouldn't cost you anything if you already have the information and you have the knowledge. So like, once again, most of the time, like even for me in the past, I've been on YouTube looking for things that I could do to make money. Like, how can I make money? And I remember like all the ideas that people said kind of were predicated on them having a social media following, and it would make me mad because I'm like, no one's ever going to pay me to talk. Yet here we are. And I said that to myself, no one's ever going to pay me to talk, ever. And all I could say is, if you're thinking that right now, what you think is what's going to happen. You pretty much, whatever you think will be your reality. So if you don't think it's possible, it's not possible. If you give it a try, you'd be surprised what can happen. Number 3 is YouTube and Google AdSense. Every time YouTube runs an ad before my video or during my video, I get paid for that view. This number can range depending on your niche, but this is definitely a new stream of income for me. It takes a while for your channel to monetize. And then of course you have to build up a catalog in order for you to actually start seeing good returns on that. But it has been a consistent stream of income that now the more videos that I have, the more that I work, the more that it kind of builds on itself and it generates a lot more. And once again, if you have a cell phone and you have a passion for something, you can create a channel. The only thing that's stopping you is you. And once again, I can only talk about things that I've done. So that is one of my income streams right now. And I will say YouTube is my 3rd highest income stream. Number 2 is corporate partnerships. E-commerce was the thing that allowed me to make money passively enough that I could do other things. Then I started doing YouTube. Literally everything else that we talked about was a byproduct of YouTube. That's how I was able to create so many income streams in the last few months. Now, again, corporate partnerships are different, but I partner with brands to create content and then they pay me. And it's, believe it or not, more than YouTube, more than online coaching, more than ebooks combined. Technically, I'm a contractor with these types of deals, it's very close to an employee, which is why I kind of don't like it. But the difference is I get to make my own hours. I control my schedule and I choose when I decide to work. So there is more flexibility in it. And if you're a person who's very disciplined and you know how to get work done on schedule when they need it done, then, you'll be good at this. But it does take some discipline on your part because no one's around to tell you to get back to work or anything like that. You have a deadline, you have to do it, and contracts can be terminated if you're no longer performing. So you always want to keep that in mind. And my number 1 income stream is capital gain. And if you don't know what capital gains is, whenever you sell an asset like stocks or real estate, the difference between the amount that you purchased it for and the amount that it's sold for is capital gains. So as you guys, again, if you're familiar with me or my channel, I've done so many different things to learn how to make money. And for a few years, I was a day trader, swing trader. That's how I made money. The reason why I failed at that was because I made it my only source of income. And the problem is, at some point, if you're averaging down when you're trading or you're investing into the stock market, you will run out of money. And if you don't have income from anywhere else, you're not going to be successful. So I realized that investing in trading is not an actual profession. It's at least not for me. It's not a career, right? What I did realize is it's a great way to make a lot of money if you're not on a time constraint. And now, because I have all these other streams of income, I don't have to be on a time constraint. I can average down as much as I want. So this, believe it or not, makes me more money than everything combined that I'm doing right now. You could take corporate partnerships, YouTube, everything that and combine it. And even when I said that right now my total annual salary is around $244,000, I didn't include anything that I'm talking about with capital gains. I did not include that at all. That's the thing that's going to make me a millionaire. And I have a YouTube series right now where I'm documenting the process of my trades for this year. I have a playlist 0 to 1 million. The goal is to get to $1 million by the end of 2025. So if you guys want to watch that, check out the playlist. I think it's great videos. Again, that's some of the content that people barely watch. But I think it's funny how the stuff that most people don't watch on my channel is the stuff that would really be the most beneficial to you. The credit stuff is cool, but it's not that. It's not that. Knowing how to start a business is cool too, but it's not even leveraging credit that's the great thing. It's that when you have skills and you do these things, money kind of comes to you. And then now you're making so much, you can put it in so many other places. You can make it even faster. That's the real thing that people don't understand. It's not just trying to get credit. It is like literally when you start something, a business, something like that, and you generate money, you will see all of a sudden all these new avenues open up that start bringing you more income. It's crazy how that actually works. Now, typically, this type of income is subject to either long-term or short-term capital gains, but you only are subjected to it based off of what you make. So it's like you only lose what you've already made. So it's just a part of the game. And, you know, there are different things that you could do to mitigate your taxes and things like that with capital gains tax. You want to do something like maybe holding your asset for more than 1 year before you sell it. And if your capital gains loss is actually more than what you've made, then you are able to, you know, put that on your taxes. So there are advantages really to gaining, to losing. It's just really a wonderful thing. And it's a great tool to have in your arsenal. And if you don't understand it, definitely start learning about capital gains and then start learning a little bit about taxes. You can do that in your spare time. Now, which one of these would I say is best for you? To basically sum up everything, like I was saying before, I started with one main income stream, not my job. I leveraged my job to actually start e-commerce. When e-commerce began making more than my job, I left my job to have more free time. When I gained more free time, I was able to start YouTube. Because I was able to start YouTube, all of a sudden now, everything just freed up. Like YouTube created all the other income streams that I have now, and it did it in 9 months. So my advice to you, once again, is to pick one thing, and it doesn't have to be anything that I talked about on this list. Find something. Find one thing that you really are excited about and you want to learn about, and get really good at that one thing. Get really good at that one thing. Hopefully it's a business, because again, if you try to do stock trading, I don't think using money to make money is the best thing if you don't already have other streams. I don't think that's going to work. I don't suggest leveraging credit unless you have money to feasibly pay it back, because that's the way that you easily end up failing a majority of the time. I always suggest starting a business and start making money. Once you start that business and you start making money, figure out how to make that business make money without you being present. Once you do that, you now have money and you have time. Most people who have money and time, if you notice, they start things on social media. It's not by accident. They do that because Starting something on social media is low overhead. It doesn't really cost much. I had a podcast, I had these cameras, I had all this stuff, I had lights. I just had it sitting in my room. So I was like, well, I have time. I got cameras. What am I doing? Like if I literally told myself, if you don't get up and do something with this, I'm going to make myself get a job. Like I talk to myself like I'm my own parent. I'm going to make myself get a job if I don't, because if you're not just going to sit around and do nothing. So if I can't figure out a way to make money like any other way, then I'm going back to work. No reason in letting my time go to waste. So eventually, because I put myself in that position where it's like, well, I don't want to go to work. I actually hate being an employee. I made this work. And it led to things that I couldn't even imagine. So I hope that this inspired you. I hope it gave you an idea of what you should look for, or at least maybe you can start your journey of going on YouTube and Google searching and just coming up with an idea and then execute on it, stick with that for 1 year, get good at it, or wait for it to make $100,000. Once that makes money, figure out how to make it to where you can make money with very little effort or very little time. And after you do that, go to the next thing and then go to the next thing and then add more, add more, add more. And before you know it, you'll have multiple streams of income. And then making money just becomes like a byproduct of you just being alive. It becomes so much easier. At this point, it's so easy for me to make money because I have so many different avenues to take. It's not even at this point on whether or not I can make money. It's just about which one can get me what I want for the least amount of time and which one do I care about the most. It's more of how much do I care about it more than what it'll actually make at this point, which is it's a nice place to actually be at, but it's also, it can make you panic a little bit. It can be a little scary because you're scared that it could end at any moment. So you want to get as many streams as possible to help feel secure. And I believe that, every day I'm working on my security. Like everybody else, I get anxious, I get scared, but I'm just putting things in place to make sure that I'm going to be good for the future. And I think that you should as well, because whether you have a job or not, I believe a job should make you feel just as anxious as being self-employed or an entrepreneur. Because again, it's one stream of income. And just like me, sometimes things happen and you could just get let go of your job for no good reason. And, being in that vulnerable place, you kind of don't want to be back there again, which is something that led me down this journey that I'm on right now. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really do hope that you got a lot of value out of it. Share this with anyone that you think might need this. And I like to always make a video like this every once in a while where I get to reflect, talk about my story and share it with other people, because I think that it's very important for us to really have a conversation. Like, I'm not an influencer. I'm just a regular guy who just so happens to make videos and I document them here on YouTube. And sometimes I feel like the people I watch on YouTube, the way that they make content, it's like they forget that they're talking to an actual person when they're making the content, and they need to just speak like they're talking to a person, not speak like you're on a commercial, I guess. Like don't get me wrong. I like when it's polished and your content is clean, and that's really, really cool. But I also like when I feel like someone's just being transparent with me and they're not lying to me and they're not trying to sell me a dream. So I don't want to ever sell you a dream, but I also want you to be hopeful for the future, because I know if I can do it, anyone can do it. I really do. I just hope that it inspires you to just try, because 9 times out of 10, it's not the fact that you can't, it's just the fact that you never will. And that's the reason why people don't end up being where they want to be. So again, thank you so much for watching this video. I greatly appreciate it. And you guys have a wonderful day.